Welcome to Midnight Pasta. Today, I've got something chilling for you. A hiking story that'll make you think twice before wandering off trail. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. You won't want to miss what's coming. Alright, let's begin. Her name was April, a solo hiker, brave, independent. She didn't care much for crowded campsites or group trails. She wasn't doing it for social media or fitness milestones. No, for April, hiking was sacred. A kind of silence you could only find when the world had forgotten where you were. She chased the isolation, looked for trails not even the locals talked about, places where moss grew thick enough to swallow a footprint, and time seemed to sleep beneath the canopy. She liked that kind of quiet. So when she came across a forum post titled "Unmarked Appalachian Trail Spur, Unknown Ridge Access," her interest piqued. The user had uploaded GPS coordinates and a single, grainy photo of a river crossing. No replies, no comments. The post was over 2 years old. Perfect. April packed up that weekend. Lightweight tent, dehydrated food, her old compass and laminated topo map, just in case her GPS crapped out. She always planned for things going wrong. What she didn't plan for was crossing paths with something that didn't want to be found. The drive took hours. Asphalt roads gave way to gravel, then dirt, then potholes that looked like they'd been there since the Eisenhower era. Her little Jeep rattled through the last few miles, like a can tied to a wedding bumper. She reached a clearing just before sunrise. An old wooden sign leaned sideways beside a ranger station that looked more like a forgotten cabin. Paint peeling, porch sagging. An old man sat on a rocking chair out front, sipping from a chipped mug. He didn't seem surprised to see her. "You hiking alone?" he asked without getting up. April nodded, tightening the strap on her backpack. "Yeah, just a quick loop. 3 days out and back." His brow furrowed, his voice lost its lazy drawl. "Don't cross the river," he said flatly. "You hear me? No one goes beyond that. It's dangerous." She smiled politely. "Got it." But she didn't mean it. She left him behind without another word, heading straight into the tree line. The morning sun filtered through the leaves in golden shafts, and for the first few hours it felt like any other hike. The forest smelled of damp pine and wet earth. Birds flitted between branches. Squirrels darted through underbrush. Her boots thudded rhythmically on the trail. It was perfect. That night, she set up camp beside a small creek. The stars blinked above her, sharp and clear. She ate a protein bar and sipped water from her canteen, the fire crackling softly beside her. Somewhere far off, an owl called once, then again. She slept peacefully. It was the second day that things started to change. The air felt heavier, cooler somehow. The trail grew narrower, less defined. Roots twisted like veins through the soil. The birds had gone quiet. Around midday, she reached the river. It wasn't much, maybe knee-deep if that. A narrow stretch of dark water winding silently through the forest. But what caught her eye was what lay on the other side. No trail markers, no signs. Just the faintest hint of a path. Branches broken, leaves disturbed, like something had been through recently, or often. April hesitated. The ranger's words whispered back, "Don't cross the river." But curiosity is a powerful thing. She stepped into the water, boots sinking into cold silt. A chill shot up her spine, not from the temperature, but something else. Something primal, like being watched. The kind of fear that doesn't come from the mind, but from the bones. She pushed through. On the other side, the woods thickened almost immediately. The trees leaned in tighter. Light filtered through in sickly green beams. The undergrowth tugged at her ankles like fingers. An hour passed. That's when she heard it. Snap. A sound too loud, too sharp to be anything natural. Then pain. Searing, white-hot pain exploding through her leg. She screamed, the world lurching sideways as she collapsed. Her eyes darted down. A bear trap, rusted, jagged. The metal jaws had clamped around her right calf, slicing through skin and muscle. Blood pooled beneath her. Her hands shook as she tried to pry it open, sobs choking her breath. No use. It was ancient but solid, designed not to let go. She screamed again and again, but no one answered. The sun dipped low, shadows stretched long. The forest around her listened. Then came the sounds. Footsteps, just out of sight, crunching slowly through the underbrush. Deliberate, pacing. She froze. "Hello?" she called out, her voice cracked and desperate. Silence. Then whispers, faint, garbled, not carried on the wind, but around her, close. She held her breath. Something was breathing nearby. She could hear it. Just beyond the trees, deep and raspy, inhaled like a growl, exhaled like something wet. The fire in her leg pulsed with every heartbeat, and her body screamed for sleep, for relief. But the woods didn't care. They were watching. That night, April lay in the dirt. The cold crept in through her clothes, settling deep into her bones. She barely slept, just drifted in and out. Every time she closed her eyes, she heard something move. Crunch, crunch, stop. Then again, a little closer. Crunch, crunch, stop. By dawn, she was trembling uncontrollably, fever already setting in. The flesh around the wound was swollen, angry red. Insects had begun to gather. Flies landed and crawled. She batted them away weakly. She screamed until her throat was raw. Still, no help. No birds, no planes. Just the thick silence of a place that hadn't been touched in decades. And that thing, it hadn't left. On the third night, she saw its silhouette, just a shape, between the trees. It didn't move, just watched. Too tall, shoulders hunched, head cocked slightly to the side. April pressed her back to a tree, heart hammering like a trapped rabbit's. She didn't blink, couldn't. Then it stepped back into the shadows and disappeared. That was somehow worse, because it was smart enough to know she'd seen it. And it didn't care. By the fourth day, April wasn't screaming anymore. Her voice had given out sometime the night before, raspy cries reduced to broken gasps. Her lips were dry and cracked, skin pale beneath the dirt and dried blood. Flies buzzed at her leg in a constant lazy drone. The trap had sunk deeper into her calf with each passing hour, metal teeth chewing through layers of muscle. The wound reeked, foul and sweet, a smell that signaled infection or rot. But that wasn't the worst of it. No, the worst was the sound that returned at dusk. At first, it was just breathing, low, rhythmic, like someone asleep nearby, but never too close. Then it would stop, only to resume later, nearer than before. And then came the whispers again. Not words, not really. Just sounds that wanted to be words. Garbled syllables whispered in a rasping voice that always seemed to curl just behind her ear, like something leaning in, lips nearly touching her skin. Once, as she lay delirious, drifting in and out, she thought she heard her own voice among them. A soft, pitiful moan that mimicked the way she used to cry out for help. She shook her head. Fever, just fever. That's what she told herself. But she didn't really believe it. As night fell again, she tried to stay awake. She clutched a broken branch in her trembling hands, muscles barely responsive, eyes wide and stinging. That's when she heard it step into the clearing. Crunch, pause, crunch. Not pacing this time. It was approaching. Her blood turned to ice. She couldn't move, could barely lift her head, but she turned her eyes toward the sound. A shape stood at the tree line, tall, almost touching the lower branches. Its form didn't make sense. Arms too long, neck crooked, bark like skin, or maybe skin like bark. It blended in with the trees until it shifted slightly, and moonlight caught on something wet along its side. Then, it stepped closer. One slow, deliberate stride. April whimpered, the branch slipping from her grasp. The thing stopped, tilted its head. It studied her. Then, it reached out. A long arm extended, farther than any human limb should. Its hand hovered above her face, fingers gnarled, bark textured. They didn't move like fingers, more like roots, twitching at the tips. It touched her. Just once. A cold, rough stroke across her cheek. Gentle. That was the last thing she remembered before darkness swallowed her. She must have blacked out. For how long, she didn't know. When she opened her eyes again, the sky was bright, overcast. A pale gray light filtered weakly through the trees. Her body ached with every breath, but something was different. The trap was open. Her leg lay limp beside it, shredded and soaked in blood. No animal tracks, no signs of another person, just the open jaws of rusted iron, like something had pried it apart. That was impossible. She tried to move, groaning as agony lit up her nerves. That's when she heard the voices. Distant, muffled. Real this time. Human. "Over here, I think I see something." She wanted to cry, but no tears came. Moments later, 2 rangers came crashing through the undergrowth. One of them shouted something into his radio. The other dropped to her side, checking her pulse, muttering under his breath. April passed out again before the helicopter arrived. When she woke up, it was in a hospital bed. White walls, beeping monitors, the kind of sterile stillness that should have brought comfort, but didn't. Her mother was sitting beside her, eyes red, clutching April's hand like a lifeline. They said she'd been found just hours from death. Dehydrated, septic, delirious. Her leg was amputated mid-thigh. They said it was the only way to stop the infection. But something was wrong. She wouldn't speak, not at first. Days passed. Nurses came and went. Therapists stopped by. Her mother stayed, refusing to leave her side. April never spoke, just stared at the far wall, eyes distant. Sometimes she would rock back and forth, just slightly, and murmur. Over and over. One phrase. A whisper. "It waits beyond the river." They thought it was trauma, shock, a mind shattered by pain and starvation. Until the drawings started. They found them stuffed in pillowcases, scratched into the inside of her food tray with plastic forks. Dozens of them, all the same shape. A figure among the trees, too tall, limbs too long, head cocked to the side. It watched. She drew it again and again in the same place. Just across the river. The ranger who'd spoken to her that day never came to visit. When asked, the station claimed he was a temporary volunteer, a seasonal. No one remembered his name. And the trail April took? Blocked off, the coordinates scrubbed, the forum post deleted. But sometimes hikers still ask about the old ranger station near the woods. And every now and then someone crosses the river. They don't always come back. And those that do, they don't talk about what they saw. If you liked this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more real horror. And remember, some places aren't meant to be explored, especially alone. Thank you for watching this story. If you're new, please subscribe, like the video, and share it. Let us know your thoughts about this story in the comments.